Yo, 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 what's going on? How y'all doing this fine evening? Welcome to the Miami Stock Exchange. Today is the May 28th of 2025. Today and right now is the time for us to analyze the futures market. This is the NASDAQ and the SPY 500. Time is of the essence, so let us get right into it. Time for levels, an in-depth analysis of what happened today and what to anticipate for tomorrow. So let's begin right now. There you go. Look at that transition. It's kind of fresh, isn't it? All right, so maybe we begin. Checking out the daily chart. Well, we can switch into the weekly chart. Here is the NASDAQ. Today, the market pushed so green. Wow, that was quite crazy. And for various reasons on why the market did go up. Looking into the weekly chart, we can see that the market is quite nicely going higher, slowly but truly. And I'd like to say on the weekly chart, it could potentially look like a head and shoulders formation. So we can see the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder. And this is something that people have been looking on for quite a while now. And the market seems like it is getting closer. Excuse me. Switching into the daily chart for the NQ or MNQ, both are the same. We can see how bullish the market is right here. You see, this is actually the open. Right now it's 9:09 p.m. Eastern Time, and the market has been trending up. Key levels to look out for, I would say, is this one right here. This is the 21,830 level that the market is touching. This is a large important high from the November 2024. We can see that over here, if the market does decide to continue going higher, 22,040 is another level. This is a level that's been around the 21,700 level, and this is the level that I emphasized so clearly yesterday, an important level that actually played out very well today in the 9:30 session. Let's get into the 5-minute time frame and see what occurred earlier today. Looking into the market open, we can see based on the volume that the market opened right here at 9:30. This is the 5-minute time frame. Looking closely, we can see that the market opened, went a little higher, and then begun a sell-off. And this sell-off actually was quite interesting because this was the zone. The market was in between a zone, and I mentioned that very clearly in yesterday's video. And as you can see here, the market approached this very, very key 21,560 level, and it touched it and rejected it, and we can see that this nice doji candlestick rejected and continued going lower. Switching into the 2-minute time frame just for a little bit closer in-depth analysis, we can see right here how there was a nice break and a little bit of a retest confirmation. I did not have enough confirmation to take this trade because the MACD line, as you can see right here, was still green and only became red shortly after. Moving on, I did end up taking a important short, and I'd like to share with y'all. It was a short under the previous day's highs and previous day's close. And we can see, I actually have a screenshot to show that I entered a short. I can just, may I open link? There you go, right here. As you can see here, I entered a short, and the market, and see, this was the sell-off. Over here, it was forming right under the previous day's high, which is very, very crucial for me. And at a bearish PMR confirmation, the MACD line was red. I entered short with 2 MNQ contracts, and we can see that the market, and you know, yesterday I took 3 contracts, but today I took 2 contracts, and that is to preserve and be careful because I didn't want to risk an excessive amount. And you can see I made about 20 points on this trade. I took a partial around 20 points, placed a break-even stop on the rest, and then I ended up being, my break-even stop was hit. But in general, it was an acceptable. There's definitely room for a better risk reward ratio. But the thing is that after closing, you can see that this was the trade right over here. This area worked, and I'm happy that I closed because I would have been in a chop fest. Look at this chop. And that's also because, well, it was 10 o'clock, so it wasn't that late. But the rest of the time, the market was in an uttermost chop fest. Chop. And then around, we can see that it even started reaching. Oh, we can switch to 5-minute now. Well, let's go to 15, actually. And we can see over here that the market went lower and it was touching the 21,420 level, pretended as if it was breaking lower, made a pin bar, maintenance above the 21,350, and continued going higher. And this was actually already after the market closed. And this was the time when Nvidia earnings came out. Nvidia's earnings was very, very green. And another reason for market to be so bullish is that the judge declined the reciprocal tariffs established by Trump. And so people are celebrating as a result. And we can see here that the market now, I decided to place down a short-term level in the 21,700. As we can see here, and pivot points are established right here. And we can see that this is a level from the daily chart, the 21,830. We can see on the daily that the 21,830 is this high right here, which is quite important. So I'd say that the levels to look out for would be the 21,560, the short-term 21,700, and the 21,830. These are three key levels for NQ. Time is ticking, so maybe we move on to ES. Looking into ES, let's go. So I'd say that ES is quite more conservative, kind of more less risk tolerant compared to the NASDAQ, because we can quite clearly see that the blue, this is the current market price. ES is currently over here, and we can see that it never ended up breaking above compared to how NQ did. And some levels to look out for based on the daily chart, we can see that, of course, this level is important because of this area, this high, but there's also these areas right here of chop. Right here, this is another low, and this high that I made today is based on right here as well, kind of similar to NASDAQ, the 21,830 level, similar here. We can see, but before it even gets to there, I would very, very be interested in looking at the 6,000 level, because this is a psych level, and the market could certainly have a reaction to it. So we can see here that already in the aftermarket, it seems like it wants to reject a little bit. You can see that the 6,000 level tried to broke above, and see it's rejecting. This would be a nice place to enter a short, hypothetically speaking, of course. So I would say that looking at ES went up nicely. I'd like to take a look at the short-term time frame just for self-analysis. We can see open just like the NASDAQ, rejected under a level 59.25. This was a key level, pretended like it's going under the 59.14 level, 59.15, and then it continued going higher, and this was already much later. So the NASDAQ actually, so the ES went higher a little later compared to the NASDAQ. I just realized that, because this was already around 640. So wow, the aftermarket went crazy. So here it is, touching, rejected here, rejected here, rejected here. What will the market do? Will it maintain and break above it, break and retest towards the upside, or is it going to be potentially channeling in between the key 5960 level and the 6000 level? And we can see that this is the high from right here. And switching to the 4-hour, we can see here that the 5960 level also is important. 5960 right here, because of this high and all the other lows that were occurred. So in general, I would say that there is key levels both for NQ and ES. I would say that the NASDAQ levels do seem to be a bit more clear, and just, well, there's just important levels to look at both right here, the 21,830, as well as the ES, which is the 6,000 even. The level on ES is more clear, so take my words back on what I said. My apologies. The 6,000 level is more clear, and I'll be definitely looking at that personally myself, because the ES has not broken above it compared to how NASDAQ did with its key 21,550 level. The maintenance above on the NASDAQ could expect more upside potentially, but there are also other previous highs on the daily chart from November 2024 to look out for. So let's see what happens tomorrow. To see, for the sake of awareness, let's check out and see the news that will be tomorrow. Looking at the news, we can see that tomorrow there's going to be preliminary gross domestic product and unemployment claims to look out for, and that could definitely make some kind of movement in the pre-market. Then the Friday, there's core PCE index. Therefore, I'm excited to see what will occur. Very, very excited. So it is time to wrap up now. This was just my nightly analysis with the Miami Stock Exchange, and it is to my intention to ensure a diplomatic and positive approach on the market with in-depth analysis, but also keeping things simple, because after all, having 1 million different indicators, it can get confusing, and sometimes in trading, simplicity is key. There is so much for us to learn. I'm sure that you are, whoever you are, I just appreciate you watching me, and I appreciate whoever you guys are, 1 person or 1 million people. Please like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know that you've seen the video. See what you think of my teaching. I know that there's always room for improvement. So, thank you for watching. Peace out. Have a wonderful night. Good luck trading tomorrow. Follow your rules. Be positive. Don't get tilted. Accept losses. Take profits if you can. If it's a red day, it's a red day. If it's a green day, maybe it's better for you just to, kind of settle down, lock in the gains that you have, and move on. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening. Miami Stock Exchange is out. Peace.